These are the main issues facing America. We're looking at a very strong possibility of buyout. It comes from this. One, the average American owes today, if we're honest about it, the average American total debt has exceeded $200,000 because of this inflation of house values. The average American now is in debt for over $200,000. That, of course, is working adults. There's about 100 million of that. So let me do the math real quick. 100 million. That's 8 zeros. So I 5 zeros. That's a national debt of over 20 quadrillion dollars. That's basically the estimated value of this AI times 20,000. 20 quadrillion dollars, I was told, is enough to build 500 O'Hare International Airports. $20 quadrillion is enough to build 20,000 football stadiums. $20 quadrillion enough to build a second United States. What the problem is, we borrowed that from other countries. We have borrowed that from other countries. Our technology is made and designed mostly in Asia, but we have a lot of European components. We have a problem here. The only resource America now has that is useful globally, because crops are always local. Crops are necessarily local, so I'm going to include that. Also, you don't touch nation's crops, so I'm going to do that, because we have a right to feed ourselves. But we have a problem here because the national wrought steel production is only enough to make 1 million cars per day. We only produce enough natural resources to produce 1 million cars per day. The nations believe to have 2.3 billion vehicles. That's approximately 4 vehicles for every single person. Most of them are disabled, and most of them are these huge graveyard lots. And all that metal, the average value to make a new vehicle of that, the average value of each one of those is about $500,000. Seriously. Because it contains lots of, high quality steel, high refined steel. If you scrape off the rust, there's lots of high refined steel. Also, the amount of quality fabric in those things. There is leather that is of immense value that can be sectioned and recycled. That would mean that the estimated value of resources in these junk cars is $5 pentillion. That is 5 with 18 zeros after it. That means that our mind has been moved to these junk yards, in which just extend forever. And satellite analysis has shown that 0.002% of the area of the United States is some type of junkyard, taking a generous classification. What we literally have is all the value of America is tied up in junk automobiles that sit and rot while we run a minor mining operation and basically think we're going to take from other nations. The truth is, the United States cannot function. The United States cannot function without the continual input, or without the continual input of foreign products. The United Nations has decided this. They're not going to allow a situation where the real and AI runs America. It's not necessary. That violates the principles of the United Nations, Geneva, general laws of most nations, which say you can't have a machine ruler anywhere ever, and just common sense in the general will and history and the religions of the national peoples. Basically, out of this situation, the entire country being run by two people and everybody simply following suit. Because the problem is, most of the people in the country are some type of paper pusher. We assume resources are going to be available, but the thing is, we don't have the smarts to mine those resources anymore. Unfortunately, here's a big problem. The skilled labor of the United States is undervalued, and if there's a major strike, they're not going to have a solution other than Rio and running a solution. But now here's the solution. The solution is basically Chinese buyouts. So therefore, this is what's going to happen if you come to me again. If there's another problem in this country that I have to solve, it will be solved using a Chinese buyout. Here would be an example of what would happen, for example, if the Chinese purchased Ford, Chrysler, and GM. Say you purchased those three. All the bad debts, you'll see a lot of cars being hauled away. Also, those guys will be armed with guns. So there'll be a lot of death as people try in vain to fight a big man who is doing his job. They will just shoot people who think that they're going to interfere with the repossession of vehicles. There probably would be lines of dead people in the street, and the police are not going to do anything because that's what's supposed to happen in that case. Basically, you have all these dead adults who thought that they interfere with the legal repossession of a car. There will be all these dead adults who basically thought they would use violence to try to keep their car. As all these cars are moved to impound lots because payment is not being made, it's not going to be made because you'll get a free car. That'll cause a lot of the Uber to collapse. Of course, here's the thing. Now we have a problem here. There would be more death as people discover they're too silly to walk to grocery stores. And frankly, there will probably rows of death while we determine who is brave enough to put on a coat and actually walk to the grocery store by their food. The ones who get to keep their cars are going to be the ones who actually do skilled enough work that they're actually getting paid. If you're not doing skilled work, you'll be fired under that system, and that firing will be real, meaning your bank account actually will not have money in it, and there's no lawyer to go to for that. You actually have to learn a skill. We'll end up with a country where you have two choices. Either you follow the directions of the teacher in a training camp, or you sign the code and die. That's where we're headed. In America, where you either follow the instructions of training instructors, or you can sit out in the wilderness and die. I'll say again, this is the future of America. You either cooperate and learn to do your job correctly. That includes that basically a big one that there is following instructions. Either you follow instructions or you sign the code and die. Welcome to Nazi Germany, because that was actually what happened. That was a big cover-up. that was what it was. Either follow the instructions and learn your skill, or die. It looks like that's where this country is going to. Because no one is going to pay a person for sitting and drinking coffee. Seriously. Here's the evidence. There are millions of these. A lot of people think that with minor repairs, most of them are probably drivable, which would be most of them are probably repos. There are millions, or I believe to be repo these. Seriously. Those things are multiple of these. First of all, this goes without saying. It's not here. I think Americans think of this incorrectly. They think of it not in, you don't think of this in how much electricity you save. It's how much does it scrap cost. You have a problem because if the cost of aluminum goes through the roof, you're going to have a problem here. Very often they contain computer components that are made using older technology. You have a problem. Almost all those radios still work. You have a problem. Because the thing is, you know what it takes to convert one of the old radios to XM radio? You insert this. Seriously. Then of course with a different connector. Seriously. Change the connector. This is actually an XM radio. Don't kid me about this. Experts know what I'm talking about. Because most people with computers understand this. This is an XM radio. Change the connector. You change any radio into XM radio, have a problem. It has some really wonderful, grunge sound. XM radio. The number of these that need no repair is unreal in those automobiles. Very often, generally, the number of these type of assemblies that need no repair. I can't tell. See, the thing is, this in a lot of automobiles today replace. This is like a $2,000 replacement in many cases. Something of this complexity. An example of this will be an air conditioning pump. An air conditioning pump is about as complex as this, and they're just as dependent on those old Ford steel cars. This is an example of this, like an air conditioning pump or a solenoid system, or frankly, large parts of an engine, including actual engines. People actually understand automobiles, so it's exactly what I talk about with this. Now, here's what I talk about with the training. Okay? These people who train, here's what you do. The instructions are, I'm going to show you how to open this. Pick up screwdriver 5. Anyone who doesn't immediately pick up screwdriver 5, you know what they're going to do? They're going to say leave. If they don't leave, this will force them to force this class on to people who actually want to learn. And trust me, there will be police with batons behind it. So that those who actually want to learn how to do this and those probably free training can learn. And they're going to have good teachers who are going to have the freedom to explain using any technique they want. Because things are a lot of people in these old, and the mechanics, like these elderly people who understand this stuff. What's going to happen is a lot of those people on YouTube, they'd be very willing. With different things, it's easy to make arrangements and fund that stuff. To illustrate how to do this work. How to think things. And also, you have the version of this in every industry. You have a version of this in every industry. These classes are going to do nonsense. You either pick up the correct screwdriver and follow the instructions. Because we're not stupid here. We know exactly what we're talking about. And they're going to use this. And then police armed first with batons and tasers and finally, when necessary, assault rifles. To ensure those classes are able to happen without a problem. I do know that right now there are people who are afraid of this 4 here. There are people actually start problems with this. No. Again, the consequence for not cooperating is you have no money. Meaning it is not possible to get money because they pay their own places. Most of them are going to close. Most of them are going to close. Oh God, in case you can't figure it out. I'm going to